Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Dan Howard podcast. Thanks for joining. So, you've read the little subject, or maybe this is just, feeding into the next little episode. Today, what we're going to be talking about is what's it worth to you. And as real estate, and really, we're talking about anything in life, right? How do you know what something is worth? What's the value of it to you, right? Of course, there's going to be a market value. And in real estate, we're always clamoring to the comps, to what somebody else paid for, how the market's moving. And that's all good and dandy, but everything has a value to you. So we're going to use an example here. You're looking in whatever neighborhood of Chicago, any neighborhood across the country, doesn't really matter. You want to start your search. So you go with your agent, do your little intake. They get to know you, or if you know them already, they discuss what you're looking for, right? So you want a 4 bedroom, 3 bathroom house, a specific location, whatever. You have, a couple kids, so you need that. And of course, you say, well, we want to spend about this much money per month. Forget how much a property ever costs. Don't ever worry about the total value. We're going to come back to that. Never worry about that and only focus on what you need first. Okay. Don't say, like, I don't think this exists. I don't think this is going to be possible. Don't say any of that. Convey what you want first. That's the most important thing. Now, as an agent, we're going to say, like, that's realistic, or that's, somewhat feasible, or that's not practical. For example of not practical would be that you want to live in the, you know, greatest neighborhood of wherever you're living, and those homes go for whatever, say $3 million, and you have a budget that's, as we just said, we don't talk about the total, but we're only going to do it here because it's for relative purposes. You have a budget of 700,000, whatever, right? So there's going to be things that are going to have a truth behind it, and there's going to be some things that just don't align. So, anyways, you have this conversation, you start to get to the root of it, right? So I put you on a search, we discuss properties, you understand the process, so on and so forth. We move forward, right? And you see a couple properties, some things align, some things you like, some things you don't like, some things you hate, some things you love, but just nothing to really move forward on. So a little bit of time goes by, a couple weeks, and a couple weeks, couple months, depending on however, often the frequency of the search gets us out there. And then you come across this property, and maybe we're standing there at an open house, and you're like looking around, you see lines of people. You love this place. This is the one. It's got the rooms, it's got the space, it's got the backyard, it's got everything that you want, location, neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. List goes on. And it's listed at X dollars, right? And there's these other considerations that I feel like often people don't talk about, and that's going to be, your taxes. It's going to be whatever your interest rate is at the time. It's going to be any other additional item that is going to play into that monthly cost. So now let's go towards the monthly cost, right? That's essential, because if you say that you have a number that you can afford monthly, that is what you want to hit. It doesn't matter how high that other number is. Nobody wants to pay more. Nobody wants to feel like they're not getting a deal. But if that's the home you want, you have to go at it with what you can afford. And that's where people are going to sometimes say, like, oh, I lose out on deals, or, I keep getting beaten out. But that's because you'll never be able to compete in those. And what you're doing is you're actually giving more fuel to the fire, because there might be somebody who, receives 10 offers, 20 offers, however many offers. And as an agent, now you've got leverage as a seller. You're able to say, you can be, hey, bring us your greatest terms, whatever that is, we'll let you guys fight for it. And you may have added to that, when the reality is, if everybody really assess, is that the home for them? Is that a good value? Is that what they should be bringing? You'll find that you probably eliminate a lot of those offers, and those offers actually should be towards other places. So what happens when you, as a client, listener, whomever you are, say, like, oh, it's, again, we'll just use a number, because we have to have a total number. We can't say what our monthly best offer is. And I can't say I want to spend $3,000 a month, because you're going to have other terms and considerations in that, right? We may be able to receive some credit. We may be able to do some things. And then, of course, taxes might be different. So you need to know what you're going to pay. Now you can say, okay, cool. I can afford, you know, $4,000 a month because I'm bringing this much down payment in. Remember, we're going to be having a down payment. We're going to have a few other things. You might get some grants. You might get some things from your lenders. There's always other ways to, get creative with your loan that's going to impact your monthly payment, right? So let's think about that. We're going to add all that up and say, okay, cool. However the reverse amortization of the loan is going to look, that's going to be our total. So if you're like, oh wow, this property, because we have a little bit more room because of our taxes, or condo buyers, you guys out there, maybe it's going to be that the assessment's less. So we take that into consideration. Now we have our true best offer. This is going to be it. This is what we're delivering, right? And then of course my job is to have those conversations, to negotiate with the agent on the other side, even before we submit a contract, to understand what is it that that seller is looking for. Is there a certain closing date? Are there certain terms? Do they need a lease back? Do they need something that's going to make it easier on them? And once you put all that together, now you have a best offer, right? But that's the thing. What's it worth to you? So you as a buyer, sometimes buyers will be like, well, I want to come in 10,000 under, but why? I need to know why 10,000. What happened? Is your monthly payment going a different way? Do you need to change something? Are you getting uncomfortable? Now if you're a cash offer, forget all that monthly payment stuff, because on your cash offer, now it's a little bit different, but that's where you, with that cash offer, have a little bit more leverage. You have, stronger buying power. It's cash, because now you make those decisions. You are not having to be dependent upon a lender. You're not dependent upon, a job or showing proof of, income, proof of work. You've got the cash. You show proof of funds. That's all that matters. That's your ticket in, right? So that's where you get that edge. That's why cash offers win. Cash is king, yada, yada. But right now, what we're just talking about is what's it worth to you. So let's even reverse engineer all that. Now you have to start to think about, okay, how long have you really been on the search? That probably goes before you even started working with me or whomever your agent is. That goes to, are you paying rent? Are you living in a home that's uncomfortable? Maybe you're not in the situation that you need to be because maybe you have a child that needs, a certain school district, or you got a new job, whatever those, circumstances and terms might be, they are unique to you. So what's it going to be worth to you? You're going to keep hearing me say that over and again, right? What's the value to you? What's it worth to you? So if you don't get that property, maybe you try for it. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. You don't know what you needed to come in at, right? Sometimes you blindly shoot for a number. That doesn't do you any good, because then you question yourself, well, what if I did 5,000 more? But you couldn't, because you know what your monthly budget is. So if you can't go beyond that, don't force it, right? And we also take into consideration, again, other things like taxes going up, right? Home insurance, homeowners insurance going up too, right? So the value of a home will be dictated as a market value based on what the market is showing. But your true value, you being on the search for a while, you having maybe unfortunate lost out in past deals, whatever it might be, you hearing other people, sometimes the value is just getting it done. Just getting it done. If it's a home you want, you feel like that's going to be your life, if you feel that that's what you need or, really want or whatever, and we've had those conversations, what if I told you, like, look, this home, this is a gem? And you're going to say, well, why? Why is this, why is this so good to be true? It's like, sometimes it just lines up. And you're going to find that there's going to be these people. What happens with some of the people is they try and they try and try, and they always want to, try to beat the market. It doesn't always work that way. And I get it. There's fear. Nobody wants to pay the most money. Nobody wants to feel that they're paying, looking like they've put the most up. Nobody wants to feel like they're beating themselves out either. And that happens a lot too, where somebody says like, oh, let's just do this number because I need to win it. It's like, yeah, but what happens if you do win? Then the next day they wake up and like, oh, what did I do? Why did I go in 50,000 over, 100,000 over? Why am I going over something that the comps aren't even showing that? Why am I doing this where I don't even know exactly what my monthly payment's going to be? I don't even know what my interest rate's going to be. I don't even know how much taxes are. You don't know anything. You just want this house. And we see that happen often in people too. And that's what we need to avoid, because I, as your agent, need to ensure that you don't put yourself in that position. Because one, that's super uncomfortable at that time. And two, as time goes on, whether it's your first year, second year, third year, fifth year, 10th year owning a home, of course, the nice thing is a mortgage, that's going to be a fixed cost. So it's not going to change. because your interest rate is locked in. You may be able to refinance in the future, get it decreased. Only thing that's really going to go up is obviously your taxes, homeowners insurance, some maintenance, things like that. So at least you know that you're paying that set amount, but sometimes it starts to get a wear on you. Sometimes if you start to hear in the news, oh, it's going to be a seller's market or it's a buyer's market, whatever it's at, and you're like, crap, like what if I needed to sell right now? It's only been 3 years. I had to, there's fees that I paid, counties and transfers and taxes and all these other things. And we paid furniture to move in here and we paid for all this stuff and we had the home painted and redone some work. And now it's like, oh, I need to sell in a market that's not as great anymore. That's tough. But that's why we need to make sure it aligns as best as possible for where you're at right now and where you're going. So you take that information and you apply it to a lot of things in life. And it helps you make decisions a lot quicker. It helps you make uh, more rational choices. It doesn't mean they're going to be the best or the worst or right or wrong. It just means you're making the one that aligns with where you're at. It's taking control. But you need to know what it's worth to you. What's the value of it, right? It goes for picking a job. It goes for picking a partner. It goes for where you travel, how you do your life, what you do in your life, all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't mean you need to work so hard to figure that out. You just need to be able to figure out what's it worth to you. And that's where having an agent, when I work with you, it's kind of being a voice of reason. Once you set, these parameters, once we've had those conversations, we're able to follow a script, follow a plan, be on the same page. When you're pushing, I can say, hey, why are you going beyond this? Or if I say we need to pull back down a little bit because right now we're writing that top line and we need to get underneath it. Same thing with selling. We need to understand who we're selling to because again, you may have bought a home 10 years ago when you bought it for 500,000. Now you want to sell it for $1 million. You were making these monthly payments because it was a lower interest rate, a lower cost of home, all these things. So now you can't figure out why nobody wants to buy it because that monthly payment is what's holding people back, right? So think about how you could put that into your life, right? And that's what I'm here for. So anything that you're doing that with, just sit down, take a moment, obviously get it down on paper, refine it as you go. You'll see it come through in the search. Okay, guys, whatever you're looking to buy, first time buyers, if you're looking to buy a multifamily, I love to have this conversation with people. We break it down and it's really cool how that also shows up in other areas of your life. So good luck on the search. Looking forward to working with you and, good luck with everything.